northern Colorado. This is Bart in 0NYY. I am located in Evans, Colorado, and I will be net control for tonight's NCARC TechNet. The purpose of the TechNet is to enlighten amateur radio operators on topics of a technical nature. We will do our best to answer any technical questions to benefit all listening. If a subject has never been clear to you, this is an excellent opportunity to find an answer. If anyone feels they have information that will help regarding that subject, please give your call sign or your suffix and net control will call on you. This net may be interrupted at any time for emergencies or priority traffic. If you need to use the system for an emergency during the net, please say break and give your call sign. We will acknowledge you and suspend the net until you advise that your traffic is clear. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? All licensed amateur radio operators with 70-centimeter privileges are encouraged to check into the net. Club membership is encouraged, but not required for participation in the net. Check-ins are requested to count participation. No checkout is required. This is N0NYY net control for tonight's NCARC TechNet. When checking in, please give your call sign slowly. I have arthritis in my hands, and I'm trying to write fast enough to keep up, and sometimes it's a challenge. Slowly, please. First, alphabetically, such as N0NYY. Then again, using the ITU phonetic alphabet, November 0, November Yankee Yankee, along with your name and location. As I said earlier, I am Bart in Evans. When checking in, please state if you have a topic you would like to discuss or any announcements. I will take check-ins in groups of 3. When I have acknowledged the first group of 3, I will move on to the next group of 3. After you check in, I will read back the 3 that I got, assuming I got 3. If you attempted to check in and do not hear your call sign when I read them back, it's possible that you doubled with someone and they won and I did not hear you, so feel free to try again. Doubles happen. It's just a fact of life. We try and avoid it, but we'll do the best we can. I will divide the check-ins into 2 groups based on your call suffix. That's the letters after the number. I know we have a lot of new hams out there, and I encourage you to participate tonight. I will start with suffixes alpha through Mike, and then I will call November through Zulu, and we'll see how it goes. First of all, if anyone would like to check in on Echolink, please call net control now. Hearing nothing, let's go ahead and start with the first group, in groups of 3, and a reminder, please speak slowly so that I can write it down. Check-ins alpha through Mike, please call net control now.
This is AE0KO, Alpha Echo 0 Kilo Oscar, Brad, mobile in Fort Collins.
This is KA6ETE, Kilo Alpha 6, Echo Tango Echo, Jim in Loveland.
Whiskey Alpha 7, Echo Mike, Ed in Erie, and I have a topic.
Alpha Sierra AC0AS, Levi and Simmons.
Okay, we'll take a break there. We had a double at the end. AE0KO acknowledged, KA6ETE, good evening, Jim. I believe I heard Whiskey Alpha 7 Echo Mike, and I think that was Ed. Would you confirm that call and your location, please?
Yeah, the call is correct, WA7AM in Erie, and I have a topic.
Got it, Ed. The doubling station was Levi. Please go again.
Yes, good evening. Alpha AC0AS, Alpha Charlie 0, Alpha Sierra, Levi and Simmons.
AC0AS, got it. Thank you, Levi. All right, next group of 3, please. Go ahead.
This is
Bert in the net. KI0KN, Kilo India 0 Kilo November. Currently mobile, Longmont.
This is K0AZA, Kilo 0 Alpha Zulu Alpha, Ron in Fort Collins, and I also have a topic.
This is N0EMP, November 0 Echo Mike Papa, with Debbie, K0DBE, Kilo 0, Delta Bravo Echo. We are mobile, entering Windsor. All right, we'll break there. I would like to acknowledge KI0KM. James, good to hear you. It's been a while. K0AZA Ron, N0EMP Greg, K0DBE Debbie, I got you all. Next group of 3, call now, please. This is suffixes Alpha through Mike.
This is Kilo 0 Lima Echo Echo, K0LBE Lee in Greeley.
This is Kilo 3 Sierra Alpha Delta, K3 SAD George Windsor. No traffic.
This is KD0FQN, Kilo Delta 0, Foxtrot, Quebec, November, Rick, Mobile, and Wellington.
All right, we'll break there. I would like to acknowledge K0LEE, K3SAD, and KD0FQN. Next group of 3, please call now.
Hey, Bart. Kilo 0 Mike Lima Golf.
Report.
Stand by 1. I got K0MLG Marty doubling station that I did not get. Please go ahead again.
N0BNK, November 0, Bravo November Kilo, Rick in the port.
N0BNK not gotcha. Okay, next group of 3, please call now.
Good evening, Bart. This is K0HAK, Kilo 0, Hotel, Alpha, Kilo, Dave in Fort Collins.
KD0EXV, Kilo Delta 0, Echo X-Ray Victor, Brian Greeley.
All right, and I would like to acknowledge K0HAK, KD0EXV. Brian, I haven't heard you in a while. It's good to have you on the net tonight. I'll go ahead and open it up to all suffixes. Again, I will try to do groups of 3, and I will acknowledge after each group of 3, and again, if you don't hear your call when I acknowledge, please try again. Next group of 3, please call now.
This is K5SGC, Kilo 5 Sierra Golf Charlie. The other Dave in Fort Collins.
This is Kilo Charlie 0 Delta Sierra Juliet, Jet in Fort Collins.
This is Kilo Foxtrot 0, Oscar Delta Delta, call in Berthoud.
Okay, we'll break there. I would like to acknowledge K5SGC, KC0DSJ, KF0ODD. Paul, for some reason that call is very difficult for me to write. I got it, but for some reason my hand muscles just didn't like it. Anyway, next group of 3, please go now. All suffixes.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Echo Bravo Sierra, Kurt in Fort Collins.
Adrian in Fort Collins.
Copied KF0EBS. Adrian, go again, please.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Oscar, Charlie.
Adrian, you fuzzed in and out a little bit. Make sure your antenna's straight up and hold still. Give me your suffix one more time. I should know it by now, but I don't.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Oscar, Whiskey, Charlie. Sorry, Oscar Charlie Whiskey. My bad.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Oscar Charlie Whiskey. Got it. Thank you. And you're in Fort Collins, correct?
That is correct.
All right. Next group of 3, please.
This is Kilo Bravo 0, Yankee Delta November, KB0YBN, Eric, Pinewood Link.
Whiskey 0, Lima Echo India, W0LEI, Chad in Stout.
Whiskey 1 Victor Alpha November, W1VAN Ivan with a topic.
Okay, and I would like to acknowledge KB0YDN, W0LEI, W1VAN. Ivan, that was really fast. I know you, so I got it, but if I was a new net, I'd have you repeat that, because it was a little fast. Advice to everyone, try to keep it slow. Remember, net control is trying to write down all the call signs. All right, next three, please.
E0CF, Alpha, Echo 0, Charlie, Foxtrot, Ben, Fort Collins.
KF0 LDS, Kilo Foxtrot 0, Lima Delta Sierra, Norval and Lakewood.
W9 JDF, Whiskey 9, Juliet Delta Foxtrot. This is JD in Loveland.
All right, we'll break there. Net would like to acknowledge E0CF, KF0LDS, W9JDF. And Ben, I have your name, LDS. What was your name again, please?
Norval, and I don't know the phonetic alphabet for it, but N as in Nancy, O-R, V as in Victor, A-L.
November, Oscar, Romeo, Victor, Alpha, Lima. Got it. And JDF, what was your name, please?
JD.
Copy, Juliet Delta. All right, next group of three, go ahead, please. All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and move on. We will take check-ins anywhere through the net. Late check-ins are not a problem whatsoever. So, going down the list, the first topic I see was Ed, WA7EM. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, everyone. WA7EM, Ed and Erie. I want to put a HF antenna on my pickup truck, an F-150. I'm kind of a believer in good antennas and not easily compromised. I think the best antenna would be at the roof level where it's got a nice ground plane of a four-door pickup. But I know that that's not entirely practical because it's so tall, won't fit in a garage or any other parking structure. And so I'm looking for people with some experience on HF antennas on pickups. What's their opinion of the next best antenna, whether it's on the bed of the truck, the hood of the truck, the bumper of the truck, or somewhere else? Thanks for your help, WA7EM.
ETE.
ETE, go ahead.
I'll speak from personal experience with HF antennas on trucks. From my personal experience, whether it be with a screwdriver style antenna or a 110-inch whip antenna, the back corner is generally going to be the best option for mounting. You would think a ground plane would help more, but the small surface area is not very conducive to a ground plane. You're better off. It will, on the back corner, it will use the length of the vehicle as kind of a counterpoise for the wire or the second half of the antenna, which yields a little bit better performance. You know, the screwdriver antennas are a compromised antenna, a little bit shorter than the 110-inch whip antennas. You can get into some parking garages, some other ones, lower ones you generally can't get into. Roughly, if you're 9 foot or under on the height of the parking garage, you can get in, but then you also, the top of the antenna is also a very flexible piece of wire that will bend and fold and bounce around, so you still can get into parking garages and parking structures without too much of an issue. Well, that's from what my personal experience has been to date, and currently run a screwdriver antenna on a Dodge 1500 pickup.
MLG.
Go ahead.
I didn't catch the guy in Erie. What's your budget?
Well, I would like to, I'm not, I guess I'd spend $400 for an antenna if I was convinced it was great, but I'd like to do something less than that.
What radio are you going to use?
FT891.
Okay. Well, I am running an 891 with the ATIS 120, and I have a back rack. I've got an F350 4-door 8-foot bed with a back rack
at the back rack that protects the back window, and I've got the antenna mounted to that. I have excellent signal reports all around the world now with that setup. I do see a lot of guys with them at the rear of the bed. If I did that, it would be broke off just first quick like, because I use my truck. Also, as a champ, he hasn't broke his off yet, but I don't like them there because I would break mine off. That's my luck. Now, with that said, Break, I also have an ICOM AH4 tuner and a 102-inch whip, and I did that just for NVIS. I think if I was going to do this over, I would probably not spend the big money on that ATIS 120. I would get a tuner, which the AH4 you don't have. They don't even make them anymore, but you could probably still find one, or use an LDG. Use a tuner and a 102-inch whip, because well, those are anywhere between $25 and $100. Depends upon where you look. But you could mount that on your bumper and fold that thing forward a little bit, and when you're, to get around town or whatever, and then when you're out, we're not going through the bank drive-through and McDonald's and all that stuff, put it straight in the air like W7RF does. That's what he runs, is a tuner and a cheap antenna. Either way you do it, I don't know if I would buy the ATIS 120, because you can't tune that antenna going down the road. The Tar Heel brand, the way I understand it, they will tune while traveling. Mine, on that rough riding 1-ton Break, I tried to tune it going down the bumpy road one time, and it locked the antenna up. I had to stop and reset everything. It was just a real cluster. So for $400, a $400 budget is going to get you a good setup. Any questions?
First of all, thank you. I do have one of these cheap Chinese tuners, and I've used it, and even though it's cheap Chinese, it does seem to work. So I was intending to use that mobile. It's maybe a quarter the size of the FT891, so I hear your recommendation of the 102-inch whip. Thanks again.
I already have the tuner. Shop around online. A buddy of mine, last summer we found some 102-inch whips for $25. Now, I don't know if they're available anymore, but they're somewhere between $75 and $100, and mount it to your rear bumper, fold it forwards to the front. A lot of people do that. Then you can do NVIS on 40, maybe 80, and then you can talk around the world that way. So I think I would start that way and see how you like it. I mean, you can always get a Tar Heel or an ATIS 120 down the road if you don't like the way it performs. That's just my 2 cents, and good luck, K0MLG.
On the other side, make sure I have it. Nope, I doubled with somebody. Other station, go again.
It was LDS, Lima Delta Sierra. I've got a little experience that's kind of cool, and all props to Marty. He knows way more than I know, but here's what I've just discovered. My brother gave me an FTM 500. I love it. It's got a little antenna that's maybe 10 inches tall and 1.25 inches in diameter. And I mean, it looks like a medium-sized cucumber, really. But it's made by a company called Larsen, L-A-R-S-E-N. And I have a 6-foot whip on my roof, and I can't hit this repeater, but this one is sitting on my desk behind my computer, and I'm hitting it. How am I hitting it?
You're a little bit noisy. Your audio could come up a little, but your copy will. But he was asking specifically, I believe, about HF antennas.
Guys, that's just my 2 cents. I'm just scratching the surface here.
Roger. Good input all around. Ed, I go the basic mode myself. I have a mag mount, which is 3 5-inch magnets, and I have a quick disconnect attached to that, and I have a whole series of ham sticks. Your ham sticks are all roughly 108 inches long, except for 6-meter one. 10, 12, and 17, I can get the entire band without doing anything to the antenna. When you get to 20, you can get pretty much all the voice portion of the band. If you want to go lower, you have to adjust the length of the whip. I haven't used a tuner, and I don't use a tuner. I could, but I don't, just to keep things simple. And on 40 meters, you get a smaller chunk of the band yet, and you have to adjust the antenna if you want to, or use a tuner. 80 meters, the bandwidth is incredibly narrow. All these antennas are the same length, and this is on a 99 Chevy Tahoe, so the roof is 7 feet off the ground. You got another 8 foot of antenna, so you're 15 feet up. I don't typically drive down the road with it. It's kind of too tall. If I went under any bridges, I'd whack it. Around my neighborhood, it'll whack trees and stuff. But if you're out on the open highway, depending on how high your vehicle is, you might have room for it, and the whip always kind of lays back a little bit in the wind anyway. It's longer than the ATAS, and it's longer than the Tar Heel, so as far as radiation efficiency, it probably gives you the best you can get, but you pay the price in length and tuning. Ed, do you have enough information to work from? Has your question been fairly well answered?
Yeah, I appreciate the help, and can't monopolize the net. There's 3 or 4 other guys got questions. Just one last one. Your 3X mag mount thing is on the roof of your truck?
Roger, Roger, right in the center. It gives me the best, well, it gives a fairly good ground plane, but when you get down to 20 and 40 meters and stuff, it's pretty small. And because the antenna is so compromised, again, you get narrower bandwidth. But yeah, I just slapped the thing in the middle of the roof. And I will tell you that with a full-length hand stick on there, it'll stay on at 100 miles an hour. I tested it once just to be sure it would. However, the quick disconnect is real easy if you can reach it. Getting the mag mount back off of the vehicle, well, that takes a little bit of planning.
Okay, understood. Thank you. WA7E, I'm clear.
There are also motorized and manual antenna hinges, antenna laydown devices. I don't have any part numbers or names for you, but I know Mark, before he passed away, W2MIC, was looking into those very extensively, and he found some that were motorized. All right, moving down the list, K0AZA, Ron, go ahead.
Thank you, Bart. It's Ron, K0AZA. My question is, I'm looking at getting another radio for my mobile, and I thought I had the decision made, and now I'm rethinking it, and I just wanted to get some input from you all. The radio needs to be a dual band VHF, UHF with dual monitors. That's the absolute requirement. I had pretty well decided on a Yaesu FTM 300, but then the more I thought about it, the more I thought, I really don't need APRS. I never use it. I've got another radio that has C4 FM, so I don't really need the digital mode. And once I threw that out, it opened up a couple of options onto my short list. So I was just wondering if anybody had them, has used them, or has an opinion on them. Let me do a reset. And the two that bubbled up on my short list were the Alinco DR735T and an Anytone AT5888UV Mark III. So just curious if anyone has any input on either of those radios, or is there another radio I should be adding to my short list?
SGC.
Go ahead, Oscar.
Yeah, I don't know about those two, but I've got a Kenwood V71. It's got a real small head. It works pretty well. So anyway, that's what I use. I've also got an Icon 5100, but it's all, digital and everything. But the 71's a nice little radio.
And Kilo Oscar.
Go ahead.
KLTQO, and Dusty's the name. And I just want to make sure that I understood the very first part, that you were looking for a dual band VHF UHF with dual receive. Do I have that correct?
Yes, that's the basic requirements right there.
Okay. I also don't have any experience with the two that you listed. I think the previous station that also gave you an answer may have just mentioned it, but the Kenwood TM V71, that's the radio. In fact, that's the radio I'm using right now, and it has dual independent VFOs, VHF and UHF. The only issue with the radio is it's no longer being made, but I found this one at a fairly reasonable price, and it does everything that I need it to, and I think it's got hundreds and hundreds of channels available. You can actually group them in different banks, and you can scan each bank individually. I'd say the only shortcoming with this radio is if you ever encounter any DCS tones, or a repeater that has a DCS tone that has split tones, this radio is unable to do that. So you kind of have to do a workaround, set one side to the input or the input tone, the other side to the receive. But that said, it's a pretty good workhorse of a radio, and that's still my go-to for my mobile, and actually one of my base radios, KLTQL.
Echo Mike.
Echo Mike, acknowledge, stand by. Dusty, what's your call sign again, please? You went way too fast for me.
Sure thing. It's Kilo Lima 2, Quebec Oscar, KL2QO.
KL2QO, got it. Thank you. Okay, was it Echo Mike? Go again?
Yeah, Whiskey Alpha 7, Echo Mike. I have the Anytone AT578UV radio. I was a little skeptical about buying what might be called an off-brand radio, but boy, it's got everything in the kitchen sink, and it works. It's got the dual receive. It's got DMR plus analog. It's got APRS and scads of other features, and I'm so far quite happy with it.
Can I come back on that one, Bart?
The B710G that I'm talking on now, which has the built-in APRS, which you said you didn't need, I also have a predecessor to this, TMD 700 sitting on the shelf that's looking for a new home. I don't know if that would be appropriate or not, but we could talk about that offline. Any other input for Ron on the dual band mobiles? Go ahead.
WNVAM.
Go ahead, Ivan.
Well, I would stick with the choice that you have, the FTM 300, that it does analog, it does the dual receives, it will monitor both FM at the same time, both the A band and the B band. I would say that that's probably the one of the better radios now. If you got a little more money in your bank account, maybe the FTM 500 with the touch screens and the speaker mic and things like that. But yeah, I would stick with the digital radios. That way, they also do analog and take advantage of the repeaters in town. WNVAM.
SGC.
SGC, go ahead.
K5SGC. One thing about the V71 that I put an ICOM 5100 in my car. My eyes aren't so great anymore, and the display on the 71 is a little small. I don't know what it's like on the other radios, but I don't know if that's something you want to consider or not. K5SGC.
And N0NYY, net control for this evening's NCARC TechNet. How we doing, Ron? Have you reached information overload yet?
No, it's given me some good ideas. Responding real quickly to the fellow with the Anytone 578, that's actually what I'm talking on now. It's the one I use in my QTH. My problem with the 578 is I find it darn near impossible to program on the fly. And maybe that's me and not it. And I need a radio, particularly for event work, that I can quickly enter either a repeater or a simplex channel and run with it. And the 578 kind of foils me on that. If it's set up, it works great. But on the fly, I find it difficult to use. So that's why I'm not real hot on buying another 578, and that's where the 5888 kind of caught my attention. But I'll certainly dig into all of these others. I really appreciate the input.
TTE, go ahead.
Yeah, this is K60T. Personally, after using it and all the other radios you mentioned, the Alinco, I've used them, and as you know, I've probably had hundreds of mobile radios throughout the past few years, but I would save up and get an FTM 500. It's if you're making a turn as dual monitor and for events to quickly program it, not only is it very easy to program on the fly, it also has the PMG, or the programmable memory group, that you can store up to 5 frequencies in. I used it during the last Equinox Marathon as one of the SAGs and course marshal. It will monitor in the background 5 frequencies and show you a bar graph of which frequencies you are able to receive on, which ones are the strongest, which gave me an instant graph to look at to see which repeater I could get to at that exact time for where I was on the course. So I could look at that and know whenever I would need to switch from the 700 to the portable repeater, from the portable repeater to the CSU repeater, and so forth. It is a very nice radio and very functional for events and marathons and stuff like that.
LDS, confirmed.
See if I have this real quick. So I guess that goes by the old saying, buy once, cry once, right, Jim? If I get that one, I'll probably be happy, and I'll be looking for another one in a year like I am now.
Yes, it is I bought once, cried once, and probably buy again to cry a second time just to have a spare. It is very functional. In fact, in my truck, I'm installing one of the 578s, so I have DMR mobile in that, along with the FTM 500. So I will have those 2 radios in there along with the HF, and very happy with both of them.
ODD, go ahead.
I just did some interesting reading and watching on the Anytone 578 UV3 Pro. Is if you have that, probably after the holidays, that the little birdies are saying that they're coming out with a monitor that will be Bluetooth for your vehicle if you needed a bigger screen. Just throwing that in.
Is that different from the BT1 that came out about a year ago? Must be.
I'm not sure, but I have been digging, trying to find out what I'm going to be going with for a go-to. So that's my 2 cents.
MLG.
Go ahead.
I was on the phone with, is my background too bad, Bart? Let me go turn this down.
It's barely detectable when you're not talking. Your voice covers it just fine.
Hey, I have an FTM 400 brand new in the box for sale, by the way, and I'm going to be buying a 500 to put in my pickup. And Ron, with you taking over that one marathon, now I guess you probably guys don't use as much frequencies as we do for the marathons that I run, but the 500, you don't need an external speaker because the speaker's in the head unit and it's blasting straight at you. What Jim said, you can monitor 5. You know whether you're going to talk simplex or repeater. Well, I guess simplex wouldn't matter, but the way he explained it, that's a plus. Jim has one. I will have one. Brad has one. Justin's buying one. Everybody's going with these 500s. Yeah, they're a little bit more money. And right now they're $550. And when I called HRO trying to see if I could get a good trade-in on my 400, seeing how it's never been out of the box, and they can't do anything. I didn't think they would, but I tried. HRO pays $558 for those radios. They're selling them for $549. Now, with Black Friday coming up, Yaesu may put another additional coupon on those. So keep your eyes open, and it's possible they might put another 50 on that. Who knows? Yaesu's so proud of System Fusion, they're ate up with themselves over it, literally. They think that's the best thing since sliced bread. And so they're trying to push their radios on the market. So that's my 2 cents. I think the buy once, cry once criteria applies in this application, especially since how you won't need to try to figure out where to put an external speaker in your vehicle. Gazer MLG.
And this is M0NYY, net control for this evening's NCARC TechNet. Any other, Ron, how you doing? Have you got enough to chew on there? Do you need more input?
Well, I could pass around the hat for, see if I can raise a little more money, but no, I think that gives me lots of ideas to chew on. I really appreciate it.
Roger. And what was the Anytone model? Again, I want to do a little research on that myself, but I missed the model number.
Yes, the AT Alpha Tom dash 5888 UV, and they're now out with a Mark III model. So AT 5888 Union Victor 3, or III.
Roger, got it. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on along. I also had a subject from Ivan, W1VAN. You have it. Go ahead.
Good evening, Bart, and good evening to the rest of the net. This is W1VAN. First off, I would like to thank the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club there for the space on the website to showcase our work that we've been doing in our digital linking. So if you look under the NCART webpage, you'll see repeaters and other repeaters. And then under the very bottom of the column there, under other repeaters, you'll see the link to Colorado Digital. A little description of what you're looking at is the DMR machines that have in the area here up on Horsetooth and North Able Mountain, Estes Park, Red Feather. Anyway, those are all listed here now with the talk groups that are pertaining to the machines. And then on down below, we get into the Fusion DMR machine. I'm sorry, the Fusion digital machines. All of our machines are digital only. They're not analog and digital, so they're all slaves to digital only, and we are a digital linking group. But this here showcases our work that we've been up to here, and so that you're able to take a DMR radio and a Fusion radio and talk to each other. You're able to take a analog radio now and a DMR radio and talk to each other through our multi-protocol here. So kind of neat. Take a look at what's going on. Also with the Fusion, hold on. Also with Fusion, we have the Wires X hooked up to the machines up there. So a long push of the X button on your Fusion radio brings up what they call Wires X. And you would do a search for XLX. So we have a XLX reflector here, and we have all of our talk groups and such on an XLX reflector. You may remember that from D-Star. D-Star is XLX. So now we're able to take the D-Star radios and talk to DMR, to Fusion, and all of this also. So pretty neat stuff. Take a look at it. Any questions? Bring it back to me. W1VAN.
Alrighty. Not hearing any. Any other late check-ins for the net this evening? Please call net control now.
Kilo Golf 6 Oscar Bravo Charlie. Justin, Mobile, Eaton.
KG6 OBC, got you, Justin. Any others tonight? Go ahead. All right, hearing none. Public service announcement. This Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. is the ham lunch at Perkins in Loveland. This is the ham lunch that Charlie Brown, KF0CB, used to promote, followed by Mark, W2MIC. Both of these gentlemen are silent keys now. Both of them enjoyed this lunch tremendously, as do I. So, this Wednesday, 11:30, 2222 West Eisenhower, which is Highway 34. Mark affectionately called it TechNet with lunch, because there will be lots of guys there with lots of years of experience. Maybe we'll do another cumulative. We have seen, when we added up the number of years in, well, we did specifically ham radio or radio in general, because a lot of guys started out with CBs back in the day. But I remember, I think specifically with ham radio, seeing between 300 to 500 cumulative years of ham radio experience at various lunches. So lots of time, lots of experience, lots of one-on-one conversations, and pretty fair food as well. Again, this Wednesday at 11:30. You don't need to be a club member. You don't even need to be a ham. If you're listening on the scanner and you're interested in a ham license, this would be an ideal opportunity to show up and learn more about it and see if it's for you or not. It's really fun to get an eye on people and put faces with the voices. But anyone and everyone's invited. There are typically anywhere from 10 to 18 people there. We normally have the back room at Perkins, which makes it really nice. So, and 0NYY net control for this evening's TechNet. Are there any other topics or questions that anyone would like to bring up? Please call net control now.
One ad for the Perkins lunch.
Go ahead, Marty.
There are normally 3 VEs, Victor Echoes, at that lunch. So if you are studying and need a place to take a test to come to lunch, WB0MH and Bart's VE, if you want to take a test, Mike charges $15. He normally turns that money right around and gives it to the wait staff. So you can also take a test there, K0MLG.
To clarify, if that was me, you meant I am actually not a VE yet, but I do have the paperwork here, so I will be soon. Thank you for that, Marty. Any other topics, questions for the net this evening? Please call now.
W1VAN.
Go ahead, Ivan.
I have a All-Star note. If anybody wants to experience All-Star before jumping into it, what it's all about, maybe a little experience with it before you dive into it. I do have a wide coverage node available to test with and experience what All-Star is all about. W1VAM. Give me a call if you need.
Ivan, is your email good on QRZ?
It is. I'm usually around the radio. You just give a call to.
Roger, Roger. Any questions for Ivan? Any other topics or questions for the net? All right. I would like to thank NCARC for the use of the repeater and sponsoring the TechNet. I would like to thank each and every one of you that checked in. I appreciate the input and the participation. I have 28 check-ins, 29 if you count me. And I'm showing 6:55 p.m., 6:56 now. So 56 minutes, 29 people. That's a really, really good net. Thank you all very much. And even though we shut off the net, I want to encourage everybody. I know we got lots of new hams out there. Don't ever hesitate to get on the air, key up, hey, so-and-so with N0NYY with a question. And you will find some people that will answer your questions most times throughout the day, the vast majority. And if you don't, get on the NCARC website and go look up the Elmers, which are people that will help you in any way they possibly can, people that are used to helping people, and they do a great job of it. So I will say 731 and all, returning the repeater to normal use, 73 N0NYY.
And to add to Bart's comment about answering questions, we will always answer them. We might not always be right, though. K6ET.
Roger, thank you, Jim. And somebody doubled with Jim, but let me also say, you don't have to know everything. You just have to know who to ask. And if you don't get somebody on the repeater that knows the answer, you will almost certainly get somebody on the repeater that knows who to ask. Whoever doubled with Jim, go again, please.
That was me, KT6UDT. You know what I need? I was going to call you, Bart.
Roger. Gotcha, Ed. Well, I'm going to take the liberty of going ahead and checking you into the net since I still have the pencil in my hand. And if you want to ride, I'm your guy. Very good. We'll see you Wednesday morning. N0NYY.
This presentation was brought to you by the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club. For more information, visit our website, ncarc.net. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.